All right, the next concept that we'll cover in database design is database normalization. Normalization is the process of structuring your tables and columns so that they minimize redundancy and preserve data integrity. The benefits include eliminating duplicate data and reducing errors and anomalies. If you take a look at this data set here, you'll notice that a lot of our records contain duplicate data, which are highlighted. This is the important concept to understand. If you don't normalize your database, you're going to end up with tables that look like this. You'll have lots of redundant data, and that may not seem like a big deal now because we're only looking at 20 records, but imagine if you had millions of records in your database. You really need to structure it in a more efficient way, and that's what normalization is going to do. In practice, normalization involves breaking out data from one single merge table into multiple tables which are related to each other. Instead of storing redundant information like we see here, which is not normalized, we create new tables which contain a single record for each unique value, and then we link to those values using an ID. In this table, we have inventory ID, and we have a film ID and an address ID associated with that inventory ID. And that's going to be the only thing that would be in this data set related to films and addresses. Then we use film ID to link out to a film table based on that ID value. And we use address ID to link out to an address table using that ID value. This is what we would call normalized. We won't really go into too much depth here, but I wanted you to understand the concept at a high level, especially so that you can understand why we store data in multiple tables instead of one redundant table. Hopefully this all makes sense. Database normalization is very important for maintaining the integrity of your database, as well as remaining efficient as you're trying to scale your database up to a large number of records. So just remember, a lot of these examples that we're going to go through in this course are intentionally done with a smaller number of records just so this feels more manageable. But think about this in a situation where you needed to maintain millions of records. You'd want to be very conscious of storing data in the most efficient way possible, and normalization of your database is the key to doing that efficiently.